The crystalline halls of the celestial court shimmered with an otherworldly glow as Ambassador Emily Chen stood before the assembled council of the Galactic Federation. Her human form seemed small and fragile compared to the towering alien dignitaries that surrounded her, yet her eyes burned with unwavering determination. "The creature is beyond saving," High Chancellor Vexter announced, his 6 arms folding across his chitinous chest. "Queen Lasara's guardian beast has sustained fatal injuries. Protocol dictates we end its suffering swiftly." Emily's jaw tightened. Through the massive, transparent dome above, she could see the wounded creature in the royal menagerie, magnificent being the size of an earth grizzly bear, but covered in iridescent scales that caught the light of 3 suns. The queen's most prized companion lay motionless, its breathing shallow and labored. "With respect, Chancellor," Emily said, her voice steady despite the weight of 1,000 alien eyes upon her, "I request permission to examine the creature myself." A ripple of shocked murmurs cascaded through the chamber. The insectoid delegate from Theta Prime clicked his mandibles in what Emily had learned was their expression of disbelief. "Impossible. No one but the Queen's personal handlers may approach the Sith. It is law. The law also states," Emily continued, pulling up a holographic display from her wrist communicator, "that in matters of extraordinary circumstance, an ambassador may petition the Queen directly for special dispensation." Queen Lasara herself sat upon the radiant throne, her elegant form draped in flowing robes that seemed woven from starlight. Her species, the Eltheri, were known throughout the galaxy for their grace and their fierce bonds with companion creatures. The Queen's violet eyes were red-rimmed with grief, and what the Queen's voice echoed through the chamber like wind chimes. "Would a human know of healing a Sith? Your species has only joined our Federation 3 cycles ago. You know nothing of our ways." Emily met the Queen's gaze without flinching. "Your Majesty, before I became an ambassador, I was a veterinary surgeon. On Earth, I specialized in treating apex predators, creatures that others feared to approach. I've held the beating heart of a grizzly bear in my hands during surgery. I've sutured wounds on creatures that could kill me with a single swipe of their claws." "The arrogance of humans never ceases to amaze," sneered Consul Thraken, a reptilian delegate known for his disdain of Earth's newest members. "Your primitive medicine cannot compare to our advanced technology. If our medical teams cannot save the creature, what makes you think you can?" "Because," Emily said quietly, "sometimes it's not about technology. Sometimes it's about understanding the creature itself, its spirit, its will to live." Mark Rodriguez, Emily's fellow human ambassador and partner, stepped forward from where he'd been standing at the chamber's edge. His presence was a silent show of support, and Emily felt grateful for it. They'd been through countless diplomatic challenges together, but this was different. This was personal. Queen Lysara rose from her throne, her movements fluid despite her obvious anguish. "You would risk your life. The Silver Claw, even wounded, is dangerous. In its pain, it will not distinguish between friend and foe. I understand the risk, Your Majesty." The Queen studied Emily for a long moment, and something passed between them, a recognition of shared pain, perhaps, or the desperate hope that only those who love deeply can understand. "Very well," Queen Lysara said finally. "I grant you permission, but Ambassador Rodriguez must accompany you as witness. If you fail, if the creature dies, the political consequences will be severe for your species standing in the Federation." Mark nodded grimly. "We understand, Your Majesty." Within the hour, Emily and Mark stood at the entrance to the royal menagerie. The Silver Claw lay on a bed of luminescent moss, its massive chest rising and falling with agonizing slowness. The creature's scales, which should have glimmered like moonlight on water, were dull and bloodied. A deep gash across its flank leaked silver fluid, the creature's equivalent of blood. "Emily," Mark whispered, "are you sure about this? I've seen you work miracles before, but this—" "I'm sure," she replied, though her hands trembled slightly as she unpacked her medical kit. "Mark, I need you to prepare the quantum sutures and the cellular regenerator, and keep talking to me. Your voice will help keep me calm." As Emily approached the Silver Claw, the creature's eyes snapped open, brilliant amber orbs filled with pain and fury. It tried to rise, snarling, but collapsed back onto the moss. Emily froze, her heart hammering, then slowly extended her hand. "Easy," she murmured, her voice taking on the same soothing tone she'd used with countless frightened animals back on Earth. "Easy, beautiful one. I'm here to help." The Silver Claw's nostrils flared, scenting her. Its growl deepened, a sound that vibrated through Emily's bones. But she didn't retreat. Instead, she began to hum an old lullaby her grandmother had taught her, one she'd discovered had a universal calming effect on distressed creatures. Mark watched in amazement as the Silver Claw's aggressive posture gradually softened. "Emily, its heart rate is stabilizing," he reported, reading the bioscanners they'd set up around the perimeter. Emily continued her approach, inch by painstaking inch, until her hand rested on the creature's scaled head. The Silver Claw's eyes met hers, and in that moment, Emily saw what she'd seen in the eyes of every wounded animal she'd ever treated: not aggression, but fear. Fear of pain, fear of death, fear of being alone. "You're not alone," she whispered. "I've got you." For the next 6 hours, Emily worked with a focus that bordered on supernatural. Her hands moved with practiced precision as she cleaned wounds, applied advanced Federation medicine combined with techniques from Earth's veterinary practices, and stitched torn flesh. Mark assisted with unwavering steadiness, handing her instruments and monitoring the creature's vital signs. The Silver Claw never tried to harm her. It seemed to understand, in whatever way such creatures understand, that this small human was its only hope. As the third sun began to set, casting the menagerie in hues of amber and rose, Emily finally stepped back. The Silver Claw's breathing had evened out. Its scales had begun to regain their shimmer. It would live. Queen Lysara entered the menagerie, having watched the entire procedure through remote monitors. Tears streamed down her face as she approached her beloved companion. The Silver Claw raised its head, and made a sound something between a purr and a rumble that made the Queen laugh through her tears. "You did the unthinkable," the Queen said, turning to Emily. "You saved what none of my people could. You risked everything for a creature not your own." Emily smiled tiredly, leaning against Mark for support. "Your Majesty, on Earth, we have a saying, not all who wander are lost. I'd like to add to that, not all who are different are enemies, and not all who are small are weak." The Queen placed a hand over her heart in the Elthari gesture of deepest respect. "Ambassador Chen, you have given me back more than a companion. You have given me hope that this Federation, with humans in it, might truly become what we've always aspired to be: a family." As Emily and Mark left the menagerie, the entire Celestial Court stood waiting. Every delegate, even Consul Thraken, bowed as they passed. The human ambassadors had done more than save a creature that day. They had proven that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their military might, it was their capacity for compassion, their willingness to act when others would not, and their unshakable belief that every life worth saving deserves someone willing to try. In the annals of Galactic Federation history, that day would be remembered not for treaties or laws, but for a simple truth: when all others stood aside, the humans did the unthinkable. They cared. And that made all the difference.